Well, that's it. Vikings lose 31-28. We couldn't overcome everything that happened in the first half, and then our defense failed us. I mean, the defense held in there during the win streak, but they couldn't do it today. They couldn't get it done. Yeah. We took a 21-16 lead. They couldn't hold that. We took a 28-24 lead. They couldn't hold that. So that's pretty much it. 4-6. I mean, it helped that Arizona lost. Maybe the Rams will lose, but even now, then you're still going to be 2 back with. Just that much harder to come back. So I don't even want to talk about this game. We just had our season ended. At home by a 2-win Cowboy team with Andy Dalton. And officials fucked us in the first half. It wasn't as bad as the second half. I mean, but when you're playing catch up, then for much of the second half for that reason, I mean, I don't know. Defense failed them in the second half, in the fourth quarter. I mean, the offense didn't get it done. The last 2 shots they had a shot to seal the game. They didn't do it. They went like 4 and out, and then the last drive there was just not good at all. Jefferson dropped the ball. That would have been the first down. They would have kept it going, but
one for you, one for me.
Just nothing.
I love it. I got us a little something too. Yeah.
So, that's it. I mean,
one for you, and one for me.
It's like,
I love it. Oh, actually, that was supposed to be.
When you can, like, the chances that they could, come into this week, they were still a long shot for sure, but their chances really depended on sweeping this 3-game homestand. And now they're 1-4 at home this year. I mean, I know there's no home field advantage because there's no fans, but I mean, it's not acceptable under the circumstances to lose. And look, a lot of it was out of their hands with the officiating in the first half, especially. It wasn't quite as bad in the second half, but still, it was a 16-7 thing at halftime, and it shouldn't have been, but you still had the game in hand in the second half and in the fourth quarter multiple times and blew it. So that's it. I mean, I don't even want to talk about the game because who cares? Like, what does it matter? Does it matter? Because Kirk played a very good game most of the way until the end. I think he ended up with 4 of his last 5 passes incomplete or something like that. And everyone will focus on that and say, "Hey, Kirk sucks," and
They bring the ball back, but the ball is sitting at the Green Bay 39.
I mean, Cook was excellent. They really took over on the run game in the second half. It was exactly what you want, and the defense just couldn't make the stop. When they took that 21-16 lead, that should have been the game. The way they were going, the way things were trending, and definitely when Kirk hit Jefferson on the bomb, that should have been the fucking game, and it wasn't. They didn't finish. Zimmer always talks about finishing the game. Well, they didn't do it. The 2 games that have killed their season the most are the Tennessee game and the Dallas game, because you should have won both of those games. And they had both of those games in hand, and they blew them both. And officials no doubt had a big hand in this game, and I will definitely talk about the officials a lot when I blog about this game and days to come and everything, but what's sticking with me right now is you had the game in hand multiple times in the fourth quarter, and your defense blew it. And I know the defense is really shorthanded, and this has been just a problem just the whole year, but it had been a lot better for 3 games. Your defense shut the door in Green Bay. They never let Detroit have a chance, and you shut the door against Chicago, and now you come home and you blow it against the Cowboys, an irrelevant Cowboys team that you let a 2-7 team come into your house when you're riding a 3-game win streak and you're feeling good about yourself, and you got a chance, and you got a legit chance. You finally got some help the other night because Arizona lost and the Rams might lose to Tampa, so you have a chance to pull within a game of a playoff spot, and you blew it. And there's nothing there. I mean, there's no silver lining here. This is probably it. You really like, unless somehow you steal one of those games or both of those games against Tampa Bay and the Saints. But I mean, you just lost at home to a 2-7 Cowboys team that has been one of the jokes of the league this season. And so, give me a break. You can't win those games because you couldn't win this one today. It's like Andy Dalton's an okay quarterback, but give me a break. Like, I don't know why Zimmer was calling such a passive game. It seemed like, I think they only got one sack. It was just a very passive game that he was calling. I mean, some of it was the run game. They couldn't stop the run the whole game. I don't know what they ended up with. It had to have been well over 100 yards. Might even been close to 200 because Ezekiel Elliott just ran down their throat the whole fucking game, and then like their second string guy broke off a 40-yard touchdown, almost untouched. So I don't know if that maybe had something to do with it. Probably did. Like, you have to focus on the run as much as you do. It affects how you're able to pressure the quarterback, and obviously we have deficiencies there for obvious reasons, but sure, Aaron Rodgers hits a fucking Hail Mary in midfield. Make this day worse. Make this day even worse. Why not? But there was so much good in this game. Like, I was so fucking fired up in the second half watching this team come back after everything that was done to them in the first half, and it was such injustice in the first half with the officiating. It was maybe the worst half of officiating I've ever seen in my life in 30 plus years of watching the NFL. It was worse than that game at Lambeau last year. It was just so blatantly one-sided, and the officials basically stayed out of the second half. But you fucking blew it. Like, make a stop. You had a fourth down. There were 1 or 2 fourth downs. Fucking Seattle game all over again, except you weren't getting beat by Russell Wilson. You were getting beat by Andy fucking Dalton. And it's just not acceptable. Like, you let a 2-7 team with a capable quarterback, but he's still a backup, come in here and beat you twice at the end. And I know one was basically just the run game, but still. And that's it. I mean, 4-6, you don't have to run the table, but you pretty much have to run the table. Like, getting it at 9-7 is possible, but you just, I mean, you lose at home to Atlanta. You lose at home to Dallas. You can't trust that this team can pull off. I mean, they won 3 in a row. They won in 2 very tough places to win, even without fans, in Lambeau and Soldier Field. And then you do this, obviously they played much better today than they played against Atlanta, but they're equally. You can't lose these games. You can't. You lose it. You get blasted by Atlanta. You lose to Dallas. Like, those 2 games are just not acceptable. And any given Sunday and everything. And there are lots of teams sitting in playoff spots right now that have kind of weird losses. I mean, Packers are thinking, how the hell did we lose at home to the Vikings? But like, it's just, Green Bay's probably going to win. 2020. Did I actually think 2020 was going to give us a nice, exciting Vikings playoff run? Did I really think, was I really that gullible to think that this shithole of a fucking year? I mean, we got the fucking election. That's the only thing we're going to get this whole fucking year. Even that's a fucking struggle, but that's not a topic for this video. But and it's like, you don't want to leave the game to this defense. I mean, the defense has been much better. Was much better on the win streak than they just were, but they're still playing really shorthanded, and when they play good, it feels like it's really an accomplishment because of the personnel that they have out there. And you want the offense to carry you, and the offense kind of did carry. Like, the offense was good today, and they weren't good at the very end. It's kind of similar to that Tennessee game where the offense was good, but then at the very end they needed them, and they couldn't come through. And I'm sure all that anyone's want to talk about is that Kirk Cousins threw a couple incomplete passes there at the end, even though one of them was a very blatant drop. But it's really just amazing how much has gone against the Vikings this year. And so little has really gone their way in terms of just like lucky breaks and officiating and just other teams ahead of them, how they're playing. It's just, it feels like a cursed season, and for 3 weeks it didn't feel like a cursed season. It felt like it could be, not that I was thinking like, okay, they're going to make a run and then they're really going to make a run and go to the Super Bowl. No, I mean, but we thought, oh God, Ezra Cleveland's out, so the offense is going to suck. No, they didn't. Like, the offense was good. They ran the ball well. Kirk was excellent. And it's like, you got a great offensive game. You're playing a 2-17 at home. You're on a win streak. You should be feeling good about yourself, and you blow it. I know they're playing shorthanded. Like, these guys who are blowing, like Chris Boyd had a chance to maybe get a game-ending interception right at the goal line at the end of the game. Like, Chris Boyd's a backup player. It's like, he shouldn't even have to be out there. What the fucking Chris Jones just whiffed on a tackle on the long touchdown run that they got. Like, these guys shouldn't even be out there, but like, these were the same guys, a lot of the same guys who were out there for winning 3 games and winning at Lambeau and Soldier Field. And
he's been hobbled by a lower right leg injury.
Like, the number of times you've had your heart ripped from your chest this year. That Tennessee game was a fucking heartbreak. The Seattle game was a fucking heartbreak. And yeah, like, a couple things go differently. Maybe the Green Bay game ends up a heartbreak too. Maybe the Chicago game ends up a heartbreak too. But I mean, like, it's hard to reconcile. And of course, the way the game ends now, no one can even talk about the officials because the Vikings had a lead in the fourth quarter after all of this. And I'm still irate about the officiating, but I'm irate about the officials. I'm pissed about the defense. I'm sad that the offense couldn't seal the game or go win it or go tie it. Like, they could have just kicked a field goal and gone to overtime. Who knows? But it's just that kind of season. It's just, they'll win some more games. Maybe they'll win the next 2 of these home games. And they could still be at 500. But I mean, you're asking a lot. You're asking a lot from these teams ahead of you to lose a lot of games. Like, you're hoping like in Arizona or the Rams or even somebody else can maybe lose 2 games so you can get up there. Well, now they may have to, one of these teams is going to really have to free fall now because you've lost a game that you can't lose. And, I don't know, it's pretty much just the way it is. But I mean, you can't lose it. The way things were, you score 2 touchdowns real quick in the third quarter, and retake the lead in a game where you've been just getting fucked by the officials and making some mistakes too. I mean, their run defense was bad the whole game, and but you can't lose the game. You can't lose the game at that point, and they did.
15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
I mean,
Labradoodles,
you have one defensive series where if you make a stop, you win. You don't. You have 2 offensive series where if you handle your business, you win, or at least go overtime, and they didn't do it. All 3. So the last 3 possessions that weren't kneel downs were all failures. And now we're 4-6, and looking up. We could have tied the Bears this week, catch one more team ahead of you, and we didn't. And now we're still sitting back 2 of the Cardinals, and depending on Monday night, we could be sitting 3 back of the Rams. And the Saints won today, and so Green Bay's probably going to win here in overtime. They're going overtime. It's like your paths to the playoffs were starting to widen. Like it was really getting possible. Like they came into today with, I think, like something like a 30% chance, something in the 30s, low 30s% chance, and now like they've really fucked themselves. I mean, refs fucked them in the first half. Vikings fucked themselves in the second half. So I don't know what else to say. It's just another really disappointing loss in a very disappointing season that was starting to look like it could be something, if not special, at least, fun. Like we could at least go into December and have some fun with, hey, looking at playoff scenarios, and you still can, but man, it's going to be really fucking hard because you at most can maybe afford one more loss, and you've still got to go to Tampa Bay and to New Orleans, and who knows who New Orleans will have at quarterback by then, and you still got to play the Bears again, who can be tough, and Panthers look good today for whatever that's worth. So it's like it's hard to really picture them going even like 5-1 after what you saw. Like officials played a part, but like you had the lead. You had 2 different fourth quarter leads, and you blew them both, and you blew them to a 2-17. So I don't know. It's hard to look at things as like, oh, well, we got a chance to still make a run, because I just don't think we do. I think this was the death nail. I really do. I think we'll win a couple more games. We may even win the next couple. But 4-6 is, it's hard to come back from. We could have been 5-5, and things were looking up, and you're thinking about, hey, can we catch Arizona? Maybe can we catch the Rams? And now it just looks like whatever chance we had for either of those has just gone away. So I don't know. Very disappointing game. Very disappointing day. Very infuriating game on every level. And again, I hate, you hate having a game like this. It's like the Lambeau game last year where the refs fucked you, but then Kirk throws an interception in the end zone that ends the game, and that's what you got to think about, and what everyone talks about. So just keep at it. It's like until they say you're eliminated, you keep going. But man, it's like in my heart they're eliminated now, because it's hard to see it. Hard to see it. It turned around once. I mean, and that's a lot to ask to win. Say, to go from like 1-5 to like, and win like 9 out of 10 or whatever. But it's like that's the situation they're in, and so if they're still gonna make some sort of run, that's what they got to do, and they're gonna. And now it's basically a given that they're gonna have to get one of those Tampa or New Orleans games. And look, they won at Green Bay, so you can't ever say, okay, they have no chance to win a particular game, but we've also seen them now lose at home to Atlanta and at home to Dallas. So they can lose any game on the schedule. They could lose to Carolina next week. They could lose to Jacksonville. They could lose to the Lions or Bears. Like, I know this team ain't gonna quit. Like they haven't quit this year. Like they fought back. They fought back in this game, man. They were pissed. Like you could tell they were pissed about what was being done to them in the first half, and they fought hard in this game too. And they're gonna fight till the bitter end. I know they are. They're not gonna quit on Zimmer, but at some point the math just doesn't support you having much of a chance, and the math is very bad now for them after this game. but the Colts just recovered a fumble on the Packers, so hey, miracles do happen. You know, maybe something good can still happen. But you know, they're really at the fucking at the wall now. Like, and their backs are against the wall. Like, it's really like 5-1 minimum, and even that ain't gonna get you in for sure. But you know, like I said, they're not gonna quit. I ain't gonna quit. I'm not gonna totally give up, but it's hard to see them. And not every team can run on you like Dallas did, but Zimmer had no answers today for that run game. Like, they just ran down their throat the whole game, and that's why they won. And so, you know, hopefully the Colts can finish this off, give us something to smile about. But it's a sad day because we really had this in our hand. Like, we had a really nice come from behind win over Dallas and the officials, and we blew it. And you know, I don't know what our percentage of making the playoffs is now, but it's low. It's got to be in the 20s. So, all right, I'm kind of just repeating myself at this point, but I'm depressed, and now I'm gonna go drink. I'm gonna drink water. I imagine if I drank actually the hard stuff, I'd be in a ditch right now. But all right, so fuck the Packers, fuck Dallas, fuck the officials, fuck our run defense, and you know, better days ahead.